before we start, so today's topic was actually suggested by Dipti Mataji. So that's why we are taking this topic. So can anyone say what is the name of the topic? Yeah, Krishna, the eternal provider, protector, and preserver. So we all talk about Krishna, right? So generally whenever we come to temple, तो हम टेम्पल में आके क्या देखते हैं? सबसे पहले प्रे करते हैं भगवान को कि कृष्णा प्लीज़ गिव मी दिस, अगर आप मुझे ये दोगे तो मैं ये करूँगा, अगर मैं 5 माला चैंटिंग कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे भी इतना चाहिए, अगर आपने ये करके दिया तो मैं और 2 माला एक्स्ट्रा करूँगा, 7 माला चैंटिंग करूँगा, अगर ये नहीं हुआ तो मैं ये नहीं करूँगा. So that is the natural propensity. So every living entity, every living being, they have this natural propensity of dealing with others, right? So similarly, our natural propensity is to deal with Krishna. कृष्णा के साथ हम बात करते हैं, कृष्णा से मतलब एक्सचेंज करते हैं. But somehow because we are in this material world, this exchanges have become perverted in nature. मतलब चीज़ें चेंज हो गई है. In the spiritual world, we all have exchanges with Krishna, and that exchange is without any motivation. मतलब it's based on pure love. जैसे कृष्णा खेलते हैं, so you must have seen in Vrindavan Leela, right? Krishna is playing with the cowherd boys, सारे गोपास के साथ खेलते हैं. So their exchange is actually very pure. But we also had some exchange, so we all have some constitutional position. ऐसा हो सकता है maybe दीप्ति माता जी, so you must have been an assistant to a gopi. शीतल माता जी, you must have been some gop also, like we don't know. So it's not that कि यहाँ पे हमारा gender male है तो वहाँ पे भी male है, या वैसा नहीं है. We don't know our gender. Yeah. So each and every one of us have a constitutional position, right? So जैसे जय and विजय थे. So Jay and Vijay, though they were Vishnu Dut, जब yeah, so Jay and Vijay, when they came down, then they came as Ravan, Kumbhakaran, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, and Shishupala and Dantavakra. So we don't know, like, so अभी हमारा जो position है, we don't know what is our eternal position. So, but what we are doing right now is like a perverted reflection. जो भी हम वहाँ पे करते थे उसका reflection यहाँ पे करते. So Krishna is of course our protector. He preserves everything. He provides us everything. So that kind of natural give and take relationship we have with Krishna. So now let us, for today's session, let us look at Bhagavad Gita. We'll go through some of the shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita. So I'll share my screen. So online people, you can let me know if my screen is visible. Is my screen visible online?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
That's probably visible.
Yeah. So we are going to read certain shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, as you all know, it has 18 chapters. These 18 chapters are structured in such a way that all these chapters are interlinked. और जैसे मतलब जब भी किसी को कोई इस सीक्रेट इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं रहता है तो वो एकदम बीच में देता है, मतलब जाके किसी को पता ना चले. तो वैसे कृष्णा हैज ऑल्सो गिवन द मोस्ट कॉन्फिडेंशियल नॉलेज राइट एट द बिगनिंग इन द 9th chapter. So in the 9th chapter we are going to look at certain shlokas. So वो देखते हैं हम लोग. Chapter 9. So chapter 9, if you go to shloka number 22. So let's read this shlok and try to understand this in detail. So let's read the translation. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So this shlok is very important. So what happens is that when we initially come to Krishna consciousness, so we are asked to give up some things. Say for example, अगर कोई है जो मीट खाता था पहले, तो उनको बोलते हैं कि you give up meat eating. अगर कोई ऐसा है जिसको मतलब टीवी देखना रहता है, ये देखना रहता है, अलग अलग एडिक्शन होता है, तो आफ्टर कमिंग टू कृष्णा वी आर एडवाइज टू लीव दिस थिंग्स. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट sometimes people are so much addicted to their previous life is that वो ऐसे बोलते हैं कि आफ्टर कमिंग टू कृष्ण कॉन्शियस ना मुझे जरा भी अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है ये सब काम करने में. मैं पहले जैसा था, पहले मैं टीवी देखता था, मूवी देखता था, सब फ्रेंड्स के साथ खेलने आता था, ये करता था, तो मज़ा आता था. अभी मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है, तो मुझे लगता है मेरे में कुछ गड़बड़ है. आई वॉन्ट टू गो बैक टू माई प्रीवियस पोजिशन. So is it possible or not? मतलब ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? Can anyone say why this is happening to that devotee? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है कि पहले कुछ करते थे, अभी वो पसंद नहीं आ रहा है? Why is that happening?
Because we cannot connect to that now. That was temporary and something different or a higher experience that is happening now.
Yeah.
So we
Change in our consciousness.
Yeah, change in our consciousness, definitely. But again, like just for argument's sake, I'm just reading this slok. What is Krishna saying? That those who worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So he preserves also. So जो हमारा पहले का टेंडेंसी है वो आइडियली उनको प्रिजर्व भी करना चाहिए. He should have give us all the things which you don't have and he should preserve those things also. So why is it that कुछ चीजें छूट जाती है? Why is it like that?
But whatever is good for bhakti, that only that is considered what will be preserved, and whatever they lack for the bhakti, that will be provided from the bhakti's perspective. So one may say even okay, if you have certain money, even Lord protects that money, and yes, but if you don't need that much of money, He will take away also.
Okay. Yeah. So the thing is that Krishna is just like a loving father, right? So अगर हम पिताजी के पास जाए, उनको जाके बोले कि पिताजी मुझे विश दे दो, तो यू विल नॉट गिव, राइट? पॉइजन अगर दे दूँ, ऐसा जाके मांगूंगा, मेरे पिताजी यहाँ पे तो यू विल डेफिनेटली नॉट गिव, राइट? तो वैसे ही मतलब कृष्ण, इफ यू गो टू कृष्णा एंड आस्क for something which is not good for you, then he will not give. And now the thing is that there might be some things which may be good for someone but may be poison for you. Then there might be some things which are poison for others, may be good for you, because every one of us is different, right? So abhi samjho Rishika Mataji, for Rishika Mataji, if Krishna is saying that you go to US, maybe ये possible है कि she will go to US and she'll start a preaching center over there. She'll make others into devotees. On the other hand, अगर ज्योति माता जी को बोला तो कृष्णा बोले नहीं, ज्योति माता जी का US जाएगी तो she will stop भक्ति. ऐसे भी हो सकता है ना. But I'm just taking some example. ऐसा don't take it personally. तो everyone has a different plan. Everyone is different. So अगर कोई ये डिवोटी के लिए काम किया है तो वो ज़रूरी नहीं कि वो दूसरे डिवोटी के लिए भी काम करेगा. सो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कृष्णा हैज़ अ प्लान फॉर ईच वन ऑफ अस. हम सब के लिए उनके पास एक प्लान है, एंड वी शुड ऑल ट्राई टू गो एज पर द प्लान ऑफ कृष्णा. नाउ कमिंग टू प्रोटेक्टर, राइट? सो कृष्णा इज अ प्रोटेक्टर. So can anyone give any example where Krishna has protected devotees or protected someone when they have prayed to him?
Pandavas are the best example. Govardhan Leela.
Yes, Pandavas, very good example. Govardhan Leela also. Yeah, Draupadi, very good example. Any other example?
And in this age of Kali Yuga also he has protected many, like means in Maharashtra one famous story of that Kumar who was making see, earthen pots, and he was busy in he was completely absorbed in the bhajan or kirtan, and he means by his feet he killed his son, right? Then Krishna provided him life one more time. I don't know the complete story, but this is from Kali Yuga.
Okay.
Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah, Parikshit Maharaj and Gajendra, elephant Gajendra. So Lord comes not just for humans, he comes for animals also. For Gajendra also he came. Any other example? Some major examples you have missed out actually.
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is the best example where we can see the protection of the Lord. The Lord himself is coming and he is protecting. So Prahlad Maharaj, if you see, he was thrown from the mountain, he was thrown into fire, he was bitten by snakes, he was like trampled upon by elephants, but still nothing happened to him. Then there is another example in the Shastra which is quite famous, quite relevant to this shlok.
Draupadi.
Yeah, Draupadi we spoke about, yeah, definitely. But I'm talking about this shlok that Krishna carries what they like and preserves what they have. So there is a very famous devotee who lacked something but got it from Krishna later, and he also preserved it. I'll give you a hint. When I say Krishna, don't just think of Krishna. You can think of other incarnations of Krishna also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes, but can you give more specific example?
Jagai Madai.
Jagai Madai also, yeah, we can say to some extent, definitely. But okay, I'll give you another example. It's related to Lord Ram. Yeah, Lord Ram had given his mercy in this way. Sorry?
Jatayu. He protected
Jatayu.
Sugriva also.
Yeah, definitely Jatayu also we can say.
Sugriva also.
Ahalya, okay.
Vibhishan.
Vibhishan. Actually, you have named all the characters, but the character which I am looking for, you have not named. So there was someone who so there was someone who forgot his powers. Remember?
Hanuman.
Yeah, yeah. So Hanuman is a perfect example of this shloka. So Hanuman, when he was born, he had full powers, almost like he had all the 8 siddhis, everything. So he had all the powers, but only thing he didn't have is he didn't know when to use those powers. So he lacked that intelligence of when to use and how to use. So when he had those powers, he was harassing other sages, he was harassing others by troubling them. He was just like, because he was a small child, he would go, suddenly went to devour the sun, and he would trouble the sages also. So he would do a lot of, no, like I would say, childish activities. So then he was cursed by the mercy of Lord Ram, by a sage, that you will forget all your powers. But at the same time, you will get it back when you need it the most. So in this case, you can see that Lord Ram, he deprived Hanuman of all his powers so that he becomes humble. And after he became humble, he started learning everything from someone. Do you remember? Do you know who was the guru of Hanuman? Yeah, Surya Dev. So every day, like in the morning, whenever the sun used to rise, he would start asking questions to Surya Dev, and they would have a very loving exchange with each other. That Hanuman will ask some questions and Surya Dev will reply. So like this, till the point the Surya sets. For 12 hours he was following Surya Dev, and he got the entire knowledge. So once he got to know everything and how to use the powers, when to use, when not to use, then only he got back his powers. So in this case, you can say that Lord Ram, he preserved whatever he had, and at the same time he delivered what he lacked. So he lacked intelligence to use his powers, and his powers were there. So similarly, we are also like this only, right? So we all have some good qualities, but unfortunately, if we are not Krishna conscious, if we are not in bhakti, we don't know how to utilize these qualities properly. So that is a problem with all of us. So sometimes what may happen is that Krishna will deliberately put us in some kind of difficulty, because when we are in difficulty, then only we remember Krishna, then only we approach him, then only we try to, like, we go to temple or try to associate with devotees. So a lot of devotees, you must have seen, like they come to temple when they are in distress. जब दुख में होते हैं तभी आते हैं, they don't come otherwise. So similarly, it's like it's very natural. So Krishna also puts us in difficulty so that we come to temple, we associate with devotees, and then we get the knowledge, and then we gradually get back whatever we had. So I know personally many cases like devotees who had a lot of wealth, suddenly they lost all their wealth. They became distressed and somehow they came to temple. They became a devotee and again they got back whatever they had. In fact, they got even much more than what they had before. So from this slok, like we can learn that devotee never loses anything. Everything is there, and at the same time if he lacks something, Krishna delivers him that also. So there is no harm in doing devotional service. There is only gain.
Prabhuji,
Yes?
you raised the point and you said that we become more problem solving once we are into devotion.
Not
That's
problem solving. I would say when a person is in distress, typically such a person tries to come to temple. Otherwise, when everything is going on well, life is set. Generally, I'm talking about general people. General people, they don't go to temple or they don't go to any religious place unless they are unhappy. Only when they are unhappy, when there is a lot of stress, they will come to temple. That is what I'm saying. So, was that your question or something else?
I'm satisfied whatever you said. What happened ki, I thought you are saying ki once you are into devotion,
Yeah.
like the non-general people, so they are automatically become more problem solver or become more like they get whatever they want, or they go with the flow, whatever happening around them. So I thought कि most of the material people, they are also sometimes उनकी life में भी up downs आते हैं, they are also handling, no?
Yeah, so that is that. So I would say when you come to Krishna consciousness, so what happens is that you get a way. So I'll just give you an example, right? Earlier, like in my life only, I would say. So earlier, whenever problems used to happen, I used to try out like at least 100 different ways of solving that problem. Like I'm that kind of a person. But out of those 100 ways, I would say only 1 or 2 ways used to work. Remaining 98 things didn't work. But now what happens is that somehow like there is a inner guidance which comes. And instead of that 100 attempts, I would say now it would take at most 5 to 10 attempts and I get the answer. So this is my example, but I am sure that there are other devotees also who get a similar guidance from within. So that guidance from within, that is given by Krishna, and he is there with everyone. The only thing is that we have to realize. So a lot of times what will happen is that our inner voice, whatever happens, again we have to be careful. Sometimes that inner voice is not that of Krishna also. It depends on our consciousness. So if you are in temple, if you are in the mode of goodness, then you will be able to hear the voice of Krishna. But on the other hand, if you are there outside, you are there with people who are materialistic in nature, then in that case the inner voice what comes, that's not voice of Krishna, that is a voice of mind. So we have mind, we have intelligence, and then we have Paramatma. So there are 3 voices which go on inside ourselves.
So how you differentiate between
Yeah.
this is the right, this is the Krishna ka voice.
Yeah, so it is actually, it takes time, it takes experience. A lot of times you will be cheated. That will also happen. It's not so easy to understand. So let me tell you just in terms of frequency, I would say most of the time the inner voice what comes, that is that of mind. The reason being, whenever we are outside, we are associating with people who in general they don't have any connection with Krishna, and nor are they very intelligent in nature. So that is there of mind. Sometimes it will be intelligence. Now intelligence is something which is trained. You understand? Just like, have you heard of machine learning? So there are AI models, right? So if the AI model is trained in a proper way, it will give a correct output. Similarly, if our intelligence is trained in a proper way, so when I say training, it means what kind of inputs we are giving to the intelligence. So if you are reading books like the Bhagavad Gita, or if you are reading books which are in the mode of goodness, then our intelligence is trained in that manner, and it will most of the times take the correct decision. But if we are inputting garbage into our intelligence, then intelligence will also become like a slave of mind. Okay. And third one is voice of Krishna, which is, I would say, most least frequent, which we can hear only when we are very pure or in complete sattva gun, then only we can hear that. And in fact, in the beginning, we will not be able to hear that also. It becomes very difficult to understand whether it's voice of Krishna or is it our mind which is cheating us. So that's the reason why it is very important to have a spiritual master or a spiritual guide who can help you. So whenever a sadhak means anyone who is doing sadhana, initially comes to Krishna consciousness, it's very important for them to take a validation of whatever things they are doing. So say for example, there is an important decision which will impact your life, that should I do this or that, then it's very important to take a validation from an authorized spiritual source that I think this is good for me. Is it good according to you or not? If we take that validation, then we will not be wrong. Otherwise, if we just listen to our so-called inner voice, many times it can be mind only. It's like, so बोलते हैं ना शैतान का आवाज आता है. So that's actually mind. So it actually tricks us. It will show you a path which is that of enjoyment, but it will actually lead you to ruin. It's like that. So it's actually very deep science, and it takes experience to understand whether it's voice of Krishna or voice of intelligence or voice of mind. Very deep science. Any other question? Because you have raised such an important point. Before I go ahead, any other question, anyone else? Okay. So this is what Krishna says in the slok, that those who worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So then he talks about devotees. So what Prabhupada says, this first line is important. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship and surrendering fully to the Lord. So again, like as we talked about, so in case of devotee, what happens is that because they are 24 hours a day, they are engaging in Krishna consciousness. So when we say 24 hours a day, it doesn't mean that they are not doing any work. They might be working as everyone, like they might be working in corporate, they might be doing business. But along with that, they always keep Krishna in mind. So it is said that never forget Krishna and always remember Krishna. So that is the formula what devotees follow. So if you are always thinking of Krishna, you never forget him, then Krishna himself will guide you. Then it becomes easier to hear the voice of Krishna. Otherwise, what happens is that our mind only will trick us. They will say that, no, why are you coming to temple? Don't come to temple, go there. You will utilize your time well. So that's what happens. So that is why Prabhupada said that we should always be in Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day, being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship and surrendering fully to the Lord. So then he also talks about Shama. Shama refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. So a devotee who is completely surrendered to the Lord is given full protection by the Lord. So if Krishna protects someone, then nobody can do any harm to him. And if Krishna decides to kill someone, then nobody can protect him. So any example you can give where Krishna had decided to protect someone and nobody could do any harm to him? Of course, like we talked about so many examples. So one of them.
Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara.
Yeah, Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara, yeah. Yeah, Gajendra also. Prahlad Maharaj, best example. And then there are examples where if Krishna is decided to kill someone, then nobody could protect him. Comes, very good example.
Shishupal.
Yeah, Shishupal also you can say.
Bali also.
Sorry?
Bali.
Okay, Bali, yeah. Yeah. And then there is an example. Sorry?
Ravan.
Yeah, Ravan also. Ravan had so many boons,
He
right?
was a devotee of Lord Shiva. Though he was a devotee of Lord Shiva and Shiva was happy with him, but still Shiva could not save him when Lord wanted to kill him.
Yeah, Shiva actually didn't want to save him also. That's a different thing. But yeah, there is an example of Banasur, right? So Banasur had the personal protection of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva had promised that if there is some trouble coming, then Lord Shiva himself will come. But of course, he didn't protect him. That's a different thing that Krishna didn't kill him also. But yeah, that's one example. Hiranyakashipu. Yeah, Hiranyakashipu is a very good example. So he had such a complicated. Sorry?
Shishupal.
Yeah, Shishupala and Dantavakra.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, both of them we can say. And then there are many other examples. Like if you see, Krishna is known by a name known as Madhusudan, right?
Yeah, he killed the
Yeah.
demon Madhu.
Yeah, Madhu and Kaitab. So there were two demons, Madhu and Kaitab, who were killed by the Lord himself. So again, those demons, they had the boon of Devi, that nobody will be able to kill them unless they themselves desire. But Krishna somehow by his intelligence, he bewildered them and they got killed. So like this, there are so many examples. So this shlok actually is like a very good, I would say, motivation for all of us to perform bhakti, because just by performing bhakti, like we get everything, and at the same time, whatever good qualities we have, that is preserved, and of course, whatever anarthas we have, that will go away. So you cannot say that everything we'll have. So sometimes what happens is that people assume their anarthas to be good qualities also. So say for example, if somebody is there who is good at like मतलब झगड़ा करने में एक्सपर्ट है कोई ऐसा है, राइट? तो वो मानते हैं कि आई एम अ गुड फाइटर, मतलब झगड़ा करने में आई एम एक्सपर्ट. तो आफ्टर बिकमिंग डिवोटी ऑफ कोर्स उनका वो गुण चले जाएगा. दे विल नॉट बी गुड इन मतलब फाइटिंग विद अदर्स. So then they cannot say that, अरे मैं तो पहले इतना अच्छा फाइटर था, now after coming to Krishna consciousness I have lost that ability. Anything which is inimical or opposite to Krishna consciousness, that will go away. But the qualities which are good for Krishna consciousness, which will help you advance, will remain. So that is how this preservation happens.
Prabhuji, fighting is due to your ignorance and passion, right? So once you come to Krishna consciousness, definitely you get rid of those qualities like passion and ignorance. So you get into the mode of goodness. So naturally, our fighting ability or this thing will reduce.
Yeah, definitely. But that's what I'm saying now. There are some people who are in the mode of ignorance or passion. They consider their fighting ability to be a strength. So they want to retain that. So that will not happen, definitely. But you will retain your strength. It's not that you will become weak, or physically you will not become weak. You will have the strength. So I'll just give you an example. So since you brought up this point, I would say that I am a Bengali. So Bengalis are, of course, you see, like they are fish eaters, meat eaters and all. So of course, like when before Krishna consciousness, I used to also consume fish and meat very regularly. So when I was leaving, when I was in the process of leaving this process, so a lot of people they told me that, "Arey Barun, what are you doing? Like because you eat fish, that's why you are so intelligent. So don't leave. Like बाकी सब छोड़ दो, fish खाना मत छोड़ो, ना तुम्हारा intelligence down हो जाएगा, marks कम हो जाएगा." But then I was like, I know that nothing will happen. So in fact, after leaving all this nonsensical stuff, my intelligence increased, and I could see that. I could see that in my academic performance, in my memory, or in everything. Even in case of like physical strength, a lot of people are saying that after leaving meat, you will become weak, but that didn't happen. In fact, I have gained strength, at least in my case, I would say. Of course, like these things would have not been possible if we had not taken Krishna consciousness. So if somebody only leaves things and doesn't take up Krishna consciousness, then they might lose something. But if you are taking up Krishna consciousness, then Krishna will help you. Another example. So how many of you have done Nirjal Ekadashi? Okay. So according to science, like if you are not taking water for even like 4 hours, is actually very detrimental to your health. And it's actually true. There is research about that. But yeah, but if you are doing that for Krishna under proper guidance and at the proper time, it's not that कभी भी मुझे लगा कि अभी आज मैं निर्जल करूंगा तो आज निर्जल करूंगा, तो ऐसा नहीं. When there is Ekadashi, especially Pandav Nirjal Ekadashi, if you are doing that in the guidance of a devotee, so if you do a fast, then you will gain strength. उल्टा होएगा. So have you felt that, मतलब Nirjal Ekadashi? So I remember, so on the day of Nirjal Ekadashi, so Prabhuji had told me to give a class on Pandav Nirjal Ekadashi. So I was wondering कि मतलब पानी नहीं पीऊंगा तो गला सूख जाएगा. But that didn't happen. Somehow मतलब वो आ गया अंदर से. Krishna gave me the strength. So these are some examples which I can share from my personal life. And anyone else would like to share their example? I'm sure all of you must have got much more wonderful experience. Yes?
My experience.
Yeah.
I stopped watching movies.
Yeah.
I don't remember last 2 years I have watched it.
Okay. So can you describe your consciousness now versus that when you were watching movies?
I don't think about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, automatically it comes to my mind. What is happening? Now, automatically, whenever I get the time.
Yeah. So has that impacted you negatively in any way?
Very positive.
Yeah. So कहीं पर I remember like when I stopped watching movies, so my friends were saying that अरे तू फिर update कैसा रहेगा? मतलब world के बारे में जानना चाहिए ना, otherwise you'll go back to Stone Age. So did anything like that happen?
No.
Are you still updated?
People used to use some input.
Yeah. So like this, lot of things will happen. But the thing is that जो knowledge काम का है उसमें तो update मिलता रहेगा. अभी जो काम का नहीं है उसमें update लेके कोई फायदा नहीं.
That was actually waste.
Yeah, it's actually waste, right? हाँ. अभी इसका वो फिल्म वाले का एक्टर की बेटा कौन है, बेटी कौन है, उससे हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Right? So that's a good example. Anything else? Anyone would like to share? Yes, Mataji?
Social media.
Yeah, social media.
What happens as I'm so mostly people are getting influenced by this using social media and everything. So what happens? Yeah, if I want to use social media, I will be the first person who will aware people about Krishna,
Yeah.
not about something. Yeah, I'm going here, I'm going there. Using less social media. Even if I'm using it, I will just listen to the Gopalas. Someone's bhajans and something as such. So yeah, rather than that, I have like I want to use less social media. Rather than I want to read more books.
Yeah, definitely.
You can even see I started watching that TV Krishna serial also. somewhere, yeah, it's not good, but I love to see him. I don't know why. So that's what it is.
Little Krishna you're talking
Yeah, Little Krishna.
about. Little Krishna is good. You can watch. That's not a problem. Of course, for like as you go up in Krishna consciousness, later on you will not feel like watching. That's a different thing. But it's okay. Rather than watching other things on TV or YouTube or whatever, it's good. It's yeah. So since you talked about social media, I remember a friend of mine, right? So of course that friend also like whenever he was to used to post anything on Facebook, so he would always get a lot of likes, and somehow he used to think that getting likes is like a big thing for him. Yeah. Okay. So if he used to get 200 likes, then he used to be happy. अगर 200 से 100 हो गया, तो immediately used to think अरे क्या हो गया, मेरा social media strategy में क्या हुआ, 200 से 100 कैसा हो गया, फिर कभी 10-20 like आया तो he used to go in depression. So that kind of things happen. Actually it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how many likes you're getting or whatever, anything, because who are we in comparison with Krishna? So it's only a thing or like ego massaging kind of a thing, that if we are getting a lot of likes, then our post is good or a photo is good or whatever. But of course, if you can use your social media skills for enhancing Krishna consciousness, that's the best thing what you can do, because social media has a lot of reach, right? It's easier to reach to a lot of people using social media. If we can broadcast the message of Krishna to everyone, that is the best possible service you can do. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says that those who are like teaching this knowledge or broadcasting this knowledge to everyone, they are like the most dear to me. So it's a very good platform. In fact, we were also suggested that whatever lectures we are taking, like we should put it that on YouTube. At least like people can see it later on also, or even if somebody has to refer, it's a good medium, right? So that's when we started recording the videos. So good example. Any other example anyone would like to share?
But Prabhuji, those are not yet put on the YouTube.
Sorry, which video are you talking about?
LOB videos.
No, it's there. It's there on Self Excellence YouTube channel. I can help you with that.
Self excellence is not same as LOB.
In Self Excellence, there is a playlist of Light of Bhagavad. In that playlist of Light of Bhagavad, all the videos are there. All the videos.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe just remind me at the end of the lecture. I will show you the playlist so that everyone is aware. Okay. Okay, so then we can move to the next verse. So this 9th chapter is something like which is really like a gem. So all the verses, it's like you can meditate on these verses whenever you are feeling down or whenever you want inspiration for bhakti. So then Krishna is talking about the other demigods in 9.23. So can anyone read this translation?
Those who are devotees of other gods
Hmm.
and who worship them with they actually worship only me,
Yeah,
the son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way.
yeah. So Prabhupada, this is actually very important, because like if you go and read Puranas, say for example you read Shiv Puran. In Shiv Puran it said that Lord Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you read Skanda Puran, there Kartikeya is glorified. If you read Ganesh Puran, Lord Ganesha is glorified. So then people have a lot of questions that whom to worship. So then there is a very widespread philosophy in India. It said that all the gods are same. You can worship anyone, you will get the same result. But that's not actually true. You see, as per Bhagavad Gita, here Krishna himself is saying that those who are devotees of other gods, of course they worship me indirectly, but they are doing it in a wrong way. So the example given is that suppose there is a huge tree, right, and you want to water the tree. So what is the best way to water that tree? Yeah. The best way is you water the roots. But on the other hand, someone who is not very intelligent, what he will do is he will say that, "Arey, this tree is so big, let me go and water each and every branch, each and every leaf." So it becomes very difficult for him, right? He will start watering everywhere and he may not even able to water properly. The tree will not get the required water. But on the other hand, if someone is intelligent, he will directly water the roots. Similarly, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, which Krishna himself says, and the other Shastras also say. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Brahma Vaivarta Puran says, lot of scriptures say the same thing. So if we worship Krishna, automatically all the other demigods will become pleased. Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. He always meditates on Lord Ram. So if Lord Ram is happy, Lord Shiva is also happy. So that is why it's written in the Bhagavad Gita that you should worship Krishna directly. So persons who are engaged in worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is offered to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, to say, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. So all the demigods, you talk about Lord Indra, Chandra, Agni, they are all in charge of different departments. So if you talk about Surya Dev, so without Surya Dev, life is not possible on this earth, because Surya Dev is the one who provides heat and energy and everything, right? It's also scientifically proven, right? The energy, whatever is coming, that's ultimately coming from sun. Similarly, the moon is also very important. So this is not scientifically proven, like the scientists are not able to find a correlation, but it's mentioned in the scripture. The moon is also very important. What does moon do? Does anyone know? Sorry? Yeah, nourishment, but it nourishes something. It's something which
It gives juice to the vegetables, fruits.
Yes. So moon actually gives the juice of all the vegetables. So if there is no moonlight, then the vegetables will not grow well. It will not be succulent. Like there is a juice in, right? So that all comes from moonlight. So like this, there are so many things which are still unexplored by science, but it's already mentioned in the scripture. Now the question comes is that why is it that science is not able to find this kind of correlation? Well, scripture is able to find, and of course I'm sure that as science progresses later on they will find that correlation, but right now they are not able to find. Why is it like that?
Because our senses have a limited capacity. Plus, whatever the instruments we will be using in this research, they also have a limitation, material limitation.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so you are talking about this limitation, right? So whenever the scientists are researching, like what aspect of the things are they researching?
Material aspect.
Yeah, material aspect. Yeah. So everything whatever you see around us, like whether it's our body or if you see this mobile phone or this table or anything, everything has two aspects. One is gross aspect, other one is subtle aspect. So whatever we can see with our material eyes or with our material senses, they are gross. So whatever we see, it's just a small percentage of the entire whole. So आपने सुना रहेगा ना, मतलब spirits के बारे में, भूत के बारे में. So they are not there in the gross plane. So that's why we cannot see them with our eyes. But if someone is really advanced, then they can feel them, like those who are.
Sometimes you can buy voices or something as such. Such instruments are there with scientific thing where you can feel the voices.
Yeah, there is a EMF measuring instrument. So what it measures the difference in the electromagnetic radiations. Yeah. So if that changes, then they say that some spirit has passed. But if you actually see that actually spirits are there everywhere. They are here also, but the only thing is that we cannot perceive them. So everything like whatever we are eating also, it has a subtle portion which we can't see, which we can't perceive. And scientists will never be able to perceive that because their way of testing things out is material in nature. They are only looking at one plane. So looking at one plane, you'll never be able to get the higher taste or the higher experience of the higher dimension. So they will be never be able to find these kind of correlation. Even if they find, it will be like too late. It's like that. So for this, we have to refer to scripture. So another example I'll give. It's actually very interesting. It said that Vrindavan and Mayapur is actually one place. How is it possible? Geographically, if you see, like there are thousands of kilometers away. But
spiritually, I mean, there is no concept of a place, time, etc. But wherever there is a Lord or the Lord's devotees is the dham, right? I mean, the similar activities taking place. So as said, all these temples where similar activities taking place, they are one and the same from spiritual perspective.
okay. Okay, another example I'll give, okay. You all have read Mahabharata, right? So in Mahabharata, you must have remembered that Duryodhana was very jealous of Bhim when he was a child. So he gave him poison and he went to sleep. Then what did he do? Yeah, he bound him with creepers and pushed him into the Ganga. And where did Bhim go? Yeah, Nagalok. So has any of the scientists ever seen Nagalok by going inside Ganga? Then how did Bhim reach Nagalok? And let me tell you, Nagalok is a different planet altogether. It's not even there on this earth. And going inside the Ganga, Bhim reached Nagalok. How is it possible? Okay, another example I'll answer all of these together. It said that Vyasa Muni, the writer of Mahabharata, he is immortal. And where is he staying right now?
Vaikuntha?
No. He is staying in Badrik Ashram, in Badrinath. So how many of you have been to Badrinath? So there is a Vyas Gufa over there. Did you see Vyas Muni over there? Yeah. But he is there. He is there. He is there, but you cannot see him. The reason is that in the material plane, whatever we see is a partial representation of what is there in actuality. If you look at material and spiritual subtle together, then things will be very different. So materially, some places might seem to be very far away. But if you look at the same thing from a spiritual angle, then those two places might be at the same place. So that is why Vrindavan and Mayapur are said to be the same place.
Actually, when you go from the material plane, just a higher plane.
Yeah.
Our what we can say, gross distinction goes away.
Yes.
And we get into the oneness.
It's not oneness. It's a different plane altogether.
That's why we say that the Lord, his body is same as himself, and he can do all the activities with any of his senses.
Okay, I will discuss that in detail maybe later. Let me finish this point which I am making right now. So again, like if you look at Bhim going down to Nagalok. Okay. The reason why Bhim went down to Nagalok is that because people in those ages, they had access to other lokas, and there was some portals which can be accessed. So you must have seen in movies, right? Somebody is entering this portal and ending up in some other world. So such portals actually exist, but it's not visible to us. So people like Arjun, they could access him. So if you remember, like Arjuna and Krishna, they went to Vaikuntha Lok. So how could they go to Vaikuntha Lok using a chariot? They could access those kind of portals. And those portals are only visible to someone who can access the higher dimension. So when you look at both the dimension, the material and the subtle dimension, things what we see is very different from the things what we see right now. So it's a very deep science. It requires a lot more, like I would say, more discussion to understand it this in detail. Maybe I'll take a session later where I can explain.
Take notes of all the sessions that you have to take.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, where did you read this from? Is any reference?
That's what I'm saying. See, I will take a separate session on that because it's a very deep topic. I will let you know later. Okay. So whenever I have the next session, you can read. So right now, I think the time is up. It's already 5:56. Anyone has any questions, we can address that. Yes, Mataji.
You recently said that in that you just have to, pray to Krishna only. But as it's Sawan going on,
Yeah.
so we cannot fast to Mahadev.
See, you again, like the simple thing is what Krishna says is that those who are really intelligent, they directly worship me. It's okay if you do some fast for Lord Shiva, that's fine. But in that case, like if you're doing something for Lord Shiva, your only prayer would be that let me become a better devotee of Lord Krishna. That should be a prayer. So it's fine to pray to Lord Shiva, it's fine to offer bay leaves or water to Lord Shiva, it's fine. But we should not ask Lord Shiva for any kind of material benediction, any kind of material thing. Otherwise, what will happen is that we will become entangled. Now, the difference between asking any material thing from Lord Shiva or Krishna is that suppose you are asking some material thing, right? You might think that if I get this, I will be happy. This thing is good for me. But in reality, that may not happen. So what happens is that if you ask that thing from Lord Shiva will give it to you. And after getting it, you will suffer even more. On the other hand, if you ask the same thing to Lord Krishna, Krishna will first evaluate whether that thing what you are asking for, is it really good for you or not. If it's good for you, then only it will be given to you. Otherwise, it will not be given. It's like that. Ultimately, whatever Lord Shiva is giving, that is also coming from Krishna only. But the only thing is that Lord Shiva especially, because he is very innocent, he is known as Bholenath, he doesn't evaluate whether this person should be given this thing or not. So there are a lot of instances where people have become arrogant after becoming like famous or after becoming wealthy. And after becoming arrogant, like they actually like cause their own downfall just by being arrogant or being proud. So if Krishna detects that this person is someone, if I give him wealth, he will become more arrogant or he will become more proud or he will do something wrong, then he will not give him the wealth. On the other hand, Lord Shiva will give you. He will not see that. Like he will just see that this person has prayed to me for so long, let me give it to you. So whenever you are praying to Lord Shiva or any other demigod, you have to be careful of this aspect. So if we have to pray something, then we should pray that let us become a devotee of Lord Krishna. That is the only thing we have to pray.
Prabhuji, one
Yes.
more question here.
Yes, Mataji.
Suppose anyone prays Lord Shiva or any other demigod,
Yeah.
but just based on the prayer they get the fruits, or do they have to have some stock, some kind of account, karma balance in their account to get that fruit? For
Okay.
example, किसी के for example, let us assume that a lady, she has in her account, in the whole account, there is nothing such that she can have a kid, for example.
Hmm.
Okay, and she prays a lot to Lord Shiva to give her a kid.
Yeah.
Is Lord Shiva able to give that blessing?
Yeah, Lord Shiva is capable of giving the blessing. That's not an issue. He can give all the blessings. He has that ability. But the thing is that, again, that lady might be thinking that getting a kid is good for me. Right? It may not be true. I don't know
that I
the
understood.
case which I am saying. Like Lord Shiva can give. So any benediction he can give, and it will fructify also, whatever he gives. Yeah. Okay. Any other question? Okay.
Also, it might happen that, for example, now we take a birth, right? Birth after birth.
Yeah.
When suppose someone dies with a strong desire, oh, she died. I mean, I did not have a kid or something like that, which was she really wanted at that time. From the social point of view, generally people have that tendency, right? So from social point of view, women are supposed to have a kid.
Yeah.
In old age, at least in old time.
Yeah.
So they generally prefer to have a kids. But if the woman is barren, she is outcast from the society. That's why they generally prefer to have a kid. But suppose she dies with that desire, and later on she borns again, say after a couple of thousands of years, then she will be born with that particular desire, and maybe that time frame will not be suitable for her. So in that case, suppose if she has got that boon from Shiva, then it will not be a good for her. But if she had prayed that to Lord Krishna, will she get that kind of that kind of result in her current life?
Okay. Such kind of scenario analysis maybe you can do later, because like this lot of possibilities are there, and to be honest, only Krishna knows like what is good for you or for anyone else. We cannot say that ऐसा होगा तो ऐसा होता, whatever. It's very difficult to understand which kind of karma, what will happen when. It's very difficult. So maybe you can have a discussion separately, at least not now because already time is up. So yeah, so if there are any more questions, you can ask me later on also. So right now there is a announcement to make. So we have a Vrindavan Yatra, which we are going in the month of October, from 7th October to 13th October. So we will be staying quite close to the ISKCON Vrindavan. So how many of you have been to Vrindavan already? Okay, so Vrindavan is the birthplace of Krishna. It is considered to be the holiest place, the best place possible to perform bhakti. So how many of you are chanting over here? Chanting round, whatever, 1 round, 2 round, whatever. So it's said that if you chant like 1 round in Mumbai, and if you chant 1 round in Vrindavan, that 1 round of Vrindavan is equivalent to 10,000 rounds of Mumbai. Yeah. So, so like it's a very good opportunity for all of us to go there and perform spiritual activities. So whatever activities we do over there, we get 10,000 times more result. But it comes with a flip side also. What is the flip side? Yeah. So any sin you perform over there also gets magnified 10,000 times. So it's like we can say every coin has two sides, right? So that's the reason, like whenever we go to holy places like Vrindavan, we keep it a very short yatra. Otherwise, what happens is that we start thinking that place like Mumbai, and we start doing activities as we do over here. So that's the reason we keep it short. We have kept it really short, as short as possible. Yeah. But that you need not worry. So there are devotees who will take care of that. But it's a very wonderful opportunity. So if any one of you are interested, you can get in touch with me immediately right now. I will give you further details.